Welcome, Mr. President.
You've just come from volunteer teaching in welding math.
Yes, that's right. Basic trigonometry. Just ended the class with the cat. Oh no. I mean classroom assessment technique. A CAT is an informal check on learners if they're getting it. I don't give them for marks but for feedback on how on track we are with their goals. It also helps students self-assess. Then I make adjustments in teaching, encourage my students to improve and coach them how. Students get to see snags and fix them. It's a handy tool for troubleshooting. The book by Angelo and Cross, Classroom Assessment Techniques, is a major reference for CATs. It has 50 CATs.
I've read that book before. You probably used a problem-solving skills CAT. My son's in your class. He told me he can now solve right triangles.
The class is generally doing well. I give a variety of CATs. Frequently, too. And, yes, problem-solving skills CATs area prominent since this is applied math.
You said there are 50 CATs in the book. Which ones did you use today?
Problem recognition tasks CAT. I gave them 6 problems. They were to categorize the problem types. Essentially, which trig ratio would solve the problem.
You want them to look and think before they leave. I see.
Yes. I want them to be methodical, to stop and think instead of immediately trying to get to what they think will lead to the answer. To be discriminating.
They're being trained in getting a bird's-eye view of it all, instead of getting lost in the details. You said problem recognition. So, you are not asking them to write out solutions?
I only asked them to encircle the cell corresponding to the computation task they should use to solve the problem.
Encircle? Won't those circles be big?
Precisely. I could tell from afar, from the patterns of big circles, how my students performed. I didn't have to come near. But seriously, what's good about this CAT is it's simple. And, for this particular one, anonymity level is good. I didn't need to collect papers.
I see the simplicity, but what about the preparation? It seems more demanding.
It requires more work, Kate. I'd like to thank my co-faculty for their inputs on this CAT form and help in proofreading and alignment with objectives. I consulted with colleagues before I assessed the students.
All these 5 problems look alike. Are these really different problem types?
Thanks for the excellent comment. Actually, you touched on the planning part of the CAT creation, the first step, before consulting with peers and creating the form. In answer to Paul's question, yes, the problems are of different types. They had to observe what's given and link them up with the trig ratios that solve the problem in one step. I decided to put the choices there because they have just been introduced to right triangle problem solving.
There's a column none of these. You're checking if they can recognize problems that trig ratios don't apply to, but are similar. I like your form.
Thanks. Trade students like this trig worksheet. It's multi-purpose. We divided up into small groups afterwards for the answers. They wrote up the solutions on the cells.
Oh no. Someone's violently reacting.
It's alright. Let him speak his mind. No CAT is perfect.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Brian. What I don't like about your problem recognition tasks CAT is I can get all answers right without really knowing how to solve it.
That's an excellent point, Brian. Please take your seat.
As you were saying, before the polite interruption, you had group work afterwards.
As I said, this particular form is multi-purpose. Together they worked on the solutions, writing them on the cells of the table. From the examples.
And so, you would know that you can move to the next lesson confidently. What about students who had problems?
I sent a couple of students to the Learning Center. I worked closely with their staff. These students need to gain speed in parts identification so they can easily determine types.
We have to wrap up now. Mr. President focused on math, But this cat can also be used in other fields, where problem-solving and diagnostic skills are important.